My name is Sarah, and I wish this story was just a twisted nightmare, but it's all too real. It started innocently enough when my husband David and I decided to send our 2 kids, Emma and Jacob, to Camp Havenwood, a place that promised a summer of adventure and camaraderie. Little did we know, this would become a nightmare that would haunt us for the rest of our lives. The camp was nestled in a remote forest, far from the distractions of the city. When we arrived, it seemed like the perfect place for our children to enjoy their summer break. The cabins were quaint, the lake sparkled in the sun, and the camp counselors wore friendly smiles. But beneath that veneer of serenity lay a darkness we couldn't have imagined. We said our goodbyes to Emma and Jacob, their excited faces filled with anticipation. They hugged us tight and rushed off with their new friends, disappearing into the heart of the camp. We watched them until they were out of sight, the worry and longing in our hearts disguised by smiles. The first sign that something was amiss came in the form of letters from our children. They wrote about their adventures at Camp Havenwood, but their words were oddly detached, devoid of the usual enthusiasm. We brushed it off as homesickness, thinking they'd adjust with time. But as the days turned into weeks, the letters grew even stranger. Emma and Jacob wrote about special activities that they couldn't discuss in detail, and they mentioned health checkups that were mandatory for all campers. We couldn't help but feel a creeping unease. David and I decided to investigate. We rented a cabin nearby and posed as a couple looking for a peaceful getaway. From our covert vantage point, we observed the camp more closely. The picturesque facade was deceiving. One night, under the cover of darkness, we followed a group of camp counselors who had led the children into the woods. Silently, we trailed them, our hearts pounding with fear and anticipation. What we witnessed was a nightmare beyond imagination. Hidden beneath the trees, we watched as the counselors ushered the children into a grim underground chamber. The entrance was concealed by thick foliage, and we could hear faint, eerie chanting emanating from within. We knew we had to get closer, to save Emma and Jacob from whatever horror awaited. We slipped through the brush and found a concealed entrance to the underground chamber. Inside, the sight that greeted us was a grotesque tableau of unimaginable horror. Rows of children lay unconscious on stone slabs, their small bodies connected to monstrous machines. Tubes snaked in and out of them, harvesting their organs with chilling efficiency. It was an abhorrent assembly line of death, a macabre operation in progress. We spotted Emma and Jacob among the lifeless forms, their faces pallid and drained of vitality. David clenched his fists, his eyes filled with a mixture of rage and despair. We knew we had to save them, but the darkness was overwhelming. The camp counselors, their faces blank and emotionless, conducted the horrifying procedure with eerie precision. They were not human. They were mere instruments of a malevolent force that controlled Camp Havenwood. As we ventured deeper into the cavern, we discovered the camp's directors, the very people who had welcomed us with smiles and promises of a memorable summer. Their faces were twisted with devotion to the darkness, their hands stained with the blood of innocent children. David and I couldn't bear to see Emma and Jacob suffer any longer. We rushed forward to free them, but it was too late. Their souls had been extinguished, their innocence stolen forever. We wept, holding each other as we watched the sinister ritual continue. The camp counselors and directors, along with the complicit parents, had willingly sacrificed the children for their precious organs. In a moment of heartbreaking resolve, we too became harvesters of